Good afternoon, everyone from Vienna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. I'm so happy to be with all of you. We had a short spring break for a couple of months with bringing new episodes, and I'm really happy to be back and bring you more inspiring stories from Austria. Today, I have a great pleasure to welcome Anna Simic to this interview. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, happy to be here.
Thank you for taking the time. It's a sunny day in Austria. It's a beautiful afternoon, and you have decided to spend this hour with us. So thank you for that.
For sure.
For sure. So let's deep dive into it. Let's start with your short introduction. So who's Anna, and what message would you like to share with our listeners?
Thanks, Adela. It's really a pleasure to be in your show and Making It in Austria. I had a kind of a question mark when I reflected on it, on the question of how to make it in Austria, because I came to Austria when I was 15, which is really a long time ago. So like the question is, how did I make it? You know, it's not the question of how did I make it in career, but like how this whole evolution of my life here happened. So as mentioned, I'm Anna. I've been living in Austria since I was 15. I came to school here. I came originally from Belgrade, back in former Yugoslavia. My family being from all over the place, and also went in some other countries internationally. So I kind of really was dropped here, and then built my life through school, university, and then later on professional life. At the moment, and since I think approximately 12 years already, I've been working for A1, which is the biggest telecommunication provider in Austria and in the Central European region. And my career there went from product marketing to digital marketing, digital services, and now is mostly around digital transformation topics. So it's also an evolution. That's kind of in a nutshell, but I mean, there are a lot of details around it. And probably the question that will interest you most, Adela, is like, so what? So how do you make this exactly? Like how do you make this career? How do you make your life? How do you network? How do you how do you make this a cool experience? But I'll leave the questions to you.
Thank you, Anna. So I'll, as you said you shared so many insights with us, and you made it in Austria. So I had the pleasure to meet you a couple of years back in Lisbon, and as you said, like working mom, you have it all. So, and we recently did a Cosmo short interviews, like all women that have it and can do all. And you're one of the person that I really love to read from. So when you post on LinkedIn and when you write about things, so certain things that are of your interest, I really enjoy reading it and following. So as you said, your transformation in your private life as well in your business. But tell us a little bit, what does it mean like now in your position? Let's close this topic of professional, and then we will talk a little bit about, your coming here and struggles that you maybe had, like challenges that you faced. So what does the head of marketing automation does? So tell us a little bit of these insights. Maybe you know some things that we should consider in marketing, or what's been happening for the last 2 years with the COVID.
Yeah, I have a very interesting job title. It's a very long one. It's called Head of Marketing Automation and Data Value Generation. So it's I used to say it's a job that I for sure never thought I would have, because I would not have had a clue what it means. But in a nutshell, it's really just shows the effort of A1 to take the customer needs very seriously. So try to really become an even more customer-centric company, and to be able to fulfill customer needs, we want to build on data and on digital tools and automation tools to simply make this doable, because otherwise, we live in a very, very complex world already, and we have a lot of we as consumers leave a lot of traces and hints for the companies. So we simply want to understand this better as a one and deliver on the promise of best possible service. So it is a part of a digital transformation initiative that I started some 3 years ago. And what I really like about this digital transformation is that it's, after a while, when you engage with it, you figure out it's, well, it is about digital, but it is really about humans, and it's a lot of like why we do things. So it asks a lot of questions. So what's the purpose? What's the value of things you do? So it changed me for sure, and also this view towards being more value oriented, not necessarily in just financial sense, but exactly. So why would you do anything? Who will benefit from that, what you do? How would customers benefit? How would the organization benefit? How would colleagues benefit? So in the team, we have also established kind of a new word for that. We're talking about system transformation, as we try, you know, to move many different little wheels that all go together. And, you know, because obviously turning only one will not make the transformation happen. So it's been a very, very, very interesting and very exciting journey. And it's you know, we're never done. It's continuous. There's always things you can optimize and learn, and that for sure satisfies me, as I'm a big learner. You know, this Gallup strengths, and number one for me is learner. And you know, I love to discover new things. I love to try things out, to experiment, to learn from others, to exchange and juggle ideas. So it's really a great field also for these type of characters like mine to thrive and to evolve.
Maybe a follow-up question, if you allow me. You said we as users, so I'm a user. We leave traces all over. You know, we you know, spend most of the time in the digital world. I accept all the cookies when the.
It's easier sometimes, isn't it?
Because there's and all the, you know, terms of agreements, and etc., etc. It's sometimes overwhelming, you know, to read all of that, and then you read it and you're like, okay, what do I do with it? You know, if I want to use this service, then I need to accept it.
Yeah, you know, it's like with everything in life. You can be a cynic or very critical about everything, or you can be optimist and trusting. And the thing is with cookies as well, I would trust that companies would use it for the benefit of improving the service. So that's why I fully buy into. I also accept them, because I think I would get served better, more personalized content or product. So it's from my benefit or benefit of my experience. So that's fine. I think you're fine. So.
I'm on a safe side, leaving traces all over the place, digitally and in real world. Anna, tell us that now that that we talked about that part of your life, and an important part of our life. So how was it for you coming to Austria, coming to Vienna with 15 years all by yourself? I assume you came here to go to school. So how does it feel that, and how can you compare Vienna nowadays and back then? So do you see how it, like, because Vienna is one of the most livable city in the world, you know, so what do you see compared to that period?
Yeah, when I came to Austria, I lived in Klagenfurt, which is a very small. I came from Belgrade, huge city, moved to Klagenfurt. So I had a kind of a culture shock and a city size shock. I came over with my mom back then and my family, and I went to school first, and I literally came unplanned. You know, it was early 90s, and it was a lot of things were happening in the Balkans. So it was a very quick decision of my family to move here. And I didn't speak a word of language. I didn't speak German at all. And I had 9 weeks time during the summer holidays to prep myself for the next year in school. And that's what I did. I went to University of Klagenfurt and finished 9 weeks of intense German course every day, six hours or something like that. So I was really studying the whole summer. And after 9 weeks, I was good enough in my German to basically continue my education. So I did not have to repeat the 9th grade of school. I continued to the 10th grade, which is 6th grade of gymnasium. And it was heavy. I mean, in that teenagers can be nasty, you land somewhere, you don't speak language that well, you're trying to find yourself and you're in a strange environment. So it was for sure a very, very, very interesting and important experience in my life to survive this first year and to figure out how to, finish school, how to survive, in an education, how to find myself socially. And that for sure, gave me confidence for everything that happened later. Because, if I can manage that like that in that year, then anything, I can manage anything else. So it was a very, very important thing. And also, I was always a good student. So it was super important to stay a good student. So I really worked hard. And that's maybe one of the things that you can always, when you move somewhere, when you go somewhere, working hard will always help, whatever the struggle. If you can, if you can work hard and if you can take that energy, then you can, I believe, make it anywhere. You need to want it and you need to know why you do it, but everything else is really work. And then I finished school in Klagenfurt, and then I came to Vienna to study international business. And that was interesting. I was really looking back now. Actually, I had a feeling that I was a local when I came to study to Vienna. There was a lot of new students from other counties, Bundesländer. So I felt like, okay, so I came from Klagenfurt. I didn't feel like coming from a broad university. But of course, looking back, I didn't know so many things. So I did not have all the knowledge and all the, let's say, advantages of a local, because you don't really understand how the system works. You don't understand what's important. You don't understand the networks, so student networks. And just one example, I went to, I'm really a big fan of European Forum Alpbach. And I went there, I think for the first time 3 or 4 years ago. And I was thinking, this is such a great place for students. So if you're a student now listening, please take any opportunity to go there. It's an amazing place to be. And that was one of the things where I thought, if I would have known it as a student, then that maybe would have been an advantage or something. So these little things you can realize later. But back then, I didn't mind so much. I was, just going forward, doing my thing, and minding, exactly, forward, and you figure things out later. So it was an interesting, pivot, a very, very significant pivot coming here, I think you learn with everything, but some experiences are bigger than others. So, and that was a very big one for me.
You reminded me now when we came here to Austria. So so when I got my first job and then we started working, my husband got the job later on. I remember Fridays, Fridays are usually people go around lunch or around 1 or 2 o'clock here in Austria. So people leave the offices usually. So if you need something on Friday in the morning, so for our listeners, you have to do something in the morning. So you don't wait for like 2 or 3 o'clock. And I remember I always stayed like 3 to 4 or 5, as you said, work hard, because I had so many things to pick it up. So for me, it wasn't like, okay, I will do it when, and all the weekends. So when you come here, as you said, you have to pick up so many things so really, really fast. And then you stay longer because you have to study the materials, because it's in different languages, in German, and it's not I learned German here, so you stay longer, or you have to understand the business, so you stay longer and work. So because you cannot really in these couple of first years, so for us, like was first couple of years, you have to really put work in it in order to, be able to follow, and then later on you can, advance a little bit and go faster. But in order to follow, the standard business, that okay, which products do we have in portfolio, what does it mean, so where are we going to go, what's the strategy, and so on. So it's really, really like that, as you said, you have to put a lot of work
but on the other side, isn't it a comforting thought, so that you
Yes.
can rely on yourself, on your hard work? That will always help. So it's, as said, if you don't get chances to experience something like that and to really see, okay, hard work will help always, even if I don't speak the language, if I don't do so. Putting in energy is good. I mean, it sounds so banal. It sounds so, of course you have to work, but I think you know what I mean. It's different type of struggling for air work.
And as you said, you like it. So if you want to go, if you enjoy, I enjoy that. So I never complained. I was like never saying, oh my God, now I have to stay till 5, because I said I want to stay here because I want to finish this. And then I read an interesting post a couple of days ago. It's like self-leadership. So you really, you for ourselves, you took care of yourself, like at the early age. I did for myself, and when we came here, so you know where you want to go, and then along the way you're figuring out, okay, these are the resources that I don't have, and then you go for a mentor or join the network. Because for us, as well, as you said, you didn't know that this European forum Alba exists, and for us, we didn't know that like hundreds of other things exist. I remember tax return in Austria. So like that's a thing, the tax return, everybody does that. And I have, I'm coming from Bosnia. There's no system whatsoever. So, there's what are the tax returns, and you can claim this and you can claim that. And if you go to, for an MBA, you can claim it as well. And then people told me, and that's, we're coming to the point of networking and then socializing and being surrounded with locals, because you need to know these things, and they are the ones that you learn from, and all these tips and tricks.
Exactly. But there is a thing I also read the other day. I really love it. I think a pretty famous philosopher said, optimism is simply by definition lack of all information. So there is a beauty of not knowing the system in all the details, because you're more free, and you simply you're more free to challenge the things or to try other things out. And I really catch myself observing myself, knowing the system really well is not always a good thing. It's really, sometimes, of course, it's good to have, to know people and to have settled, but, don't underestimate the beauty of being new to something. And there is a lot of freedom coming with it as well. So
I think we experienced that. Yeah, we experienced that the last year and a half, when everything was suddenly new and unknown. But we managed to not just to survive, but to thrive and do things. So it's possible. But as you said, it's true. It's not knowing everything and just picking up. When you need. I don't want to know everything. Just a little bit of ahead. When we plan the trips, for instance, in the nature, I only know the destination. In the meantime, we'll figure it out.
Exactly, and then you don't know who you're gonna encounter, and that's also maybe as you mentioned that mentoring and networking is an important thing for you in these talks. It's for me really so interesting, because I built a network in A1. It's a women's network called Women Matter. It's been around for 6 years. Wow. And that was a network that I built because I was super energized and driven by the fact that we need to empower each other. We need to connect each other better as women. But it was never with the purpose, let's build a network and give and take each other what we want. So and that for me really, like, also going outside into other networks. Networking for me is about connecting with other humans, and then sharing experiences and us being able to have this nice conversation.
Yes.
But not in this purpose of, okay, I give you something, you give me something back, and then this is a kind of a rational At least not for me. I mean, for some people it is. So networking and mentoring and everything is really about kind of giving an opportunity to each other to grow in some ways, to learn something, and to help if possible. So really coming to this, I understand when you come somewhere and you're new and you need to get to know people. I would always say that go and meet people you like. Simply, go out to the events, meet people, and just connect with people you like. Don't go with this guy or this lady. They look important.
Yes.
Now I need to connect with them and shake hands. No, that might lead you and get you somewhere, but at least for me, that's not the enjoyable part of networks. So it's also from that perspective, there is a lot of networks and there's a lot of people who interpret them in the way of being very rational.
Yeah,
exactly.
What's in there for me?
Exactly.
Yeah, I enjoyed that book from Adam Grant about was it Give and Take?
It's called Give and Take.
Yes, exactly, as you said.
But it's for give, right? it makes a claim to give more than to take.
and it's a quite good book, so I would recommend everyone to read it, because there's so many good tips and insights, and it's, as you said, it's not break even. So it's not like I give you something and you give me something, because if you go with that attitude, then that's not my mantra. So that's not how I live life in general. And then of course not that networking part, because for me, I enjoy simply, as you said, meeting people. I enjoyed conversation this with you, because this is something that that inspires me. It carries me the whole week.
Same here.
Yeah. So, and this is the book that she reads, and this is the conference that she goes, and this is what she's busy with, and this is what she's looking for. That's what she's looking people in this industry for different projects and so on and so forth. So this is, if you go with this attitude, then you can really go super fast, and you will enjoy it, because you're enjoy going there, and I was like, okay, I have to be there because there's an important person. And I'm the one who is not really after important people, after like, yeah, this is the person who's on the cover and I need to meet her. Why? Maybe because she has the agenda, or he has an agenda, and it makes sense, and I would like to join this initiative, this project, and be part of it, and so on and so forth. Yes, but if just for a picture and so on, it's just lost time, basically. And with this initiative, making it in Austria, it was the idea to find diamonds among society here in Austria, and not just go for a certain choice.
PR.
Yes, like this is the
really
person
amazing.
you have to, yeah, this is the person you have to go. And I was like, why? I don't know this person, and this person is maybe 10, 15, 20 years ahead of me. She's busy with some other, or he's busy with some other things. It doesn't fit. I'm looking really for someone in this community that is ready as well to contribute, that is ready to meet other 40 people that I already interviewed. They say, oh, okay, I really want to do business with this person, or there's something in it, I want to meet this person, and so on. It's not just for the sake of
it's a really, really, really great initiative. I absolutely admire also how you how you created it, how you're building it, how you're striving through COVID and through all, and your maternity leave. So I really feel humbled to be here.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. As you said, we talked before this, before we started recording. When you find something, when you find your purpose, when you're on a mission, and I'm creating these missions for myself as a part of my vision and what I want to leave, here in this world. It's not just about me succeeding, so it's also about bringing others with me so that they can bring more. Because I wouldn't be here if there wouldn't be people who believed in me and who supported me along the way, financially as well, believing in me that I can do something, that I have talent, and that I can, be of support for some other people, and so on. So that's kind of one of the reasons why
your version of give and take. Give back. Yeah. Giving back is a very strong purpose. Yes.
Indeed, that's a big driver. So Anna, how about, so we talked about networking, how about mentoring? So are you also a big fan of mentors, or are you a mentor yourself, or a mentee?
For sure, I try to help if I can, both if I'm a mentor or if I'm a mentee. I think mentoring is like friendship. It's really something that happens, and when you know the way it makes sense. I never really tried. It never worked for me. These super formal mentorings where you are assigned to somebody and you had to meet this person for, I don't know, 12 months. And I don't do it like that. So, but if I, it's usually with women. It's simply through the women network. I stumble a lot across women. If I can help, and if I can, listen and ask the right questions, which maybe could help them get to the right answers for them, then I'm really happy to help. And also, if anybody needs any type of support in that sense, really, the doors are open. Get in touch, but don't expect formal mentorship. This is really not. I don't. Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish. You okay?
No, it's fine. As I said, it's more. It should work. And as usual, it should be fun, and it should be good for both sides.
I remember when I talked to Kambis, so I did an interview with him a couple of months back, and he said every person that I meet is a sort of mentor for me, because for every person that I meet, I learn something, or I get an advice, or they recommend me a book, or they recommend me a network or a place where I should go to. So it's also good to think in that sense, as you said, informal ways. I need you now for this specific, or you can support a specific initiative, and then don't have to meet for 12 months and so on. It can be one way, one time.
Exactly.
And we haven't touched about a little bit. We haven't touched struggles, challenges that you had. Maybe as you said, you came to Austria a long time ago. But how was it? Any struggles that you would, how did you overcome, when you started your first job, or when you changed the jobs in between? So how do you do that? So what does help you, apart from, being a lifelong learner and, working hard, but what else would you like to share?
Well, in interesting things in, define struggle. Struggle is a challenge that you then overcome, but then looking back, it's kind of, it's done, right? What was the struggle? So I tend to think of struggle as that they have a repeating pattern, so something that always comes up. And what I notice, and also through the career in Austria, is I came a long time ago, and I felt very soon like a local, as I mentioned when I came to Vienna. But somehow you always remain a bit different. So that's and that eventually you need to accept this. So if I worked for very big companies throughout my career, and if I notice if the setup was too Austrian, to traditionally Austrian, and if I was too different than others, then I didn't really feel comfortable. So I realized that I really prefer working in more diverse environments, international environments, and that somehow, when you know where you can thrive, this is kind of something that you also start looking into. And that's why I'm such a fan of this digital environments and worlds and transformation, because it's open, like the whole world. You can connect globally. It's not so local. I know we're talking about making it in Austria, but here we have great companies as well, great international companies. So that's maybe something. Is it a struggle? It's something I learned about myself. I strive in more open, more innovative, more diverse environments, and this is also what I'm more on purpose looking into. And I know that if we are too closed environment, I cannot perform, and I don't feel happy. So this is something, you have to accept this. This is kind of accepting the difference that I bring to the table. I'm a woman. I have diverse background. it's a lot of differences about me, but this is okay. This is me, and there is a lot of companies, a lot of environments that benefit from them, and that's how it is. So don't try to to be too the same, to see like why now, why is this, no, this is the best, this is good, this is your strength, that you're different. So it's always a bit of a change of perspective to these things as well.
Don't go with the current, or don't fit in. So just for the sake of it. I had the same experience when we came here. I think after a year and a half working mostly with the Austrian companies. So I said, this is somehow, it was too small for me. I felt like being stuck. I cannot breathe. And it has to do with, as I said, with your personality. I had colleagues who thrived in their jobs for years and years, and they had major successes, and they really enjoyed it. So this was, you could see on them that this is their world. And in my case, it was like, okay, this is somehow too small for me, and it's repetitive. Doesn't make it. I don't feel, well represented, I would say. It's just feeling like I'm using just a small portion of bringing small portion of myself. And then I moved into international environment, starting with Internet of Things division, and I could use all 3 languages. For me, for instance, like I could speak in German, English, and Bosnian. And I was like, okay, that's something. I could travel a little bit. I could have colleagues. I had colleagues in Sweden or in the Netherlands, and I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit more wider, and like, okay, more
exactly.
Yeah. So I think, but as you said yourself, that comes with knowing yourself. I would say what I would read one of the from what you're saying and what I'm saying as well is like knowing yourself. It's like kind of, okay, where am I and how does this really work for me? And this is because you can change the environment
at this point. Exactly, at this point in time, but don't also accept yourself as being too static. You can always change and then evolve, and you might by trying new things. It's good to experiment, to see, maybe you discover some parts of yourself that you haven't known. So it's a constant growth, constant journey.
And that's good. That's good because we need that in the world nowadays. Nothing is like as we knew before or yesterday, or so things are always changing, and it's helps us to be at the right side, I would say, foreseeing things that are coming. Anna, I know you're a passionate reader, so at least what I read from you.
Yeah, it goes with this exploration urge and need. Yes, I really reading is for me like entering worlds that I might not be always able to experience physically. And read. It's exploration.
So what would you like to share with our viewers? So what are you reading at the moment?
I brought along a book. Let's see if I can show it to the camera so that it's called Code Breaker.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a book by Walter Isaacson, and it's about a lady called Jennifer Doudna. She won Nobel Prize last year for inventing CRISPR-Cas9, which is the gene editing tool. And the book is actually, well, she's the main character, but the book is about the whole history of gene editing, of genes, and what makes us like the single piece that makes us humans, and how we are more and more capable of influencing that. And as I said, for me, the whole future of health and future of medicine and future of that it combines a lot of technology and science, and it was super, super interesting and super exciting. And I can recommend it. It's almost like everybody should know these things. Like in the year 2021, you have to understand what is happening, not only with social media and with Corona, but like what is possible. So because if you understand what is possible, then you might also understand what your contribution to that future could be. If you're not aware of all the things happening, then for some people that's for me, I need this wider purpose. I need to know what's possible, what's there, how we could collaborate better, work together, like other new ideas, other new opportunities to explore. That's why this book was really great. But apart from that, I know I read anything and everything. A lot of leadership books. There's another one I brought you along. I don't know, this one, look.
Yep.
It's called Thinking in Bets. It's Annie Duke. No, I won't tell you a lot about this one because it's amazing. So it is like, what can you learn from playing poker to make better, smarter decisions? It's super amazing. So these type of books, Adam Grant we mentioned, I really like. I like a lot of podcasts as well. So I try to learn, and this is for me kind of also relaxing. It's for me, learning something is not an effort. It's the opposite. It's calming me. So yeah, check out my LinkedIn profile. I post every now and then a book or two that could be interesting.
You remind me of this quote that I came across from Marie Curie. And it says like, nothing is to be feared, it is to understood, so we can fear less. And it's when you were talking about this first book, it reminded me of that. So because, to understand more, then we fear less, and we feel like, oh, okay, I get that. Because the world is, as you said, might be busy with, COVID, but the rest of the world, and especially science and technology, they are evolving like never before, and we have to look at that side as well, not just like okay, corona lockdowns, regulations, etc., and then but there's like a whole world, worlds that are happening, and yeah.
But honestly, this book helped me. This code breaker book helped me understand also why we ended up having a vaccine so fast for corona. So it has a lot of very practical background to current situation. But I'm amazed, this how I think the scientific approach to doing things and for business or for private or for whatever kind of endeavors is so powerful, and I think it's becoming more and more relevant. I'm now referring also to my job, because everything is so complex. So the only way around figuring it out is having hypotheses and running experiments. And this is actually the scientific approach. This is how science runs. You ask the question and then you make sure what experiments do I need to validate my hypothesis. And and this is how we're starting to run business as well. And it's super amazing how these things are merging.
So for our listeners, we will not discuss much more details.
Sorry, always good.
No, this was a perfect, like in the marketing is now there should be like a line. Go and check this book and first check Anna's LinkedIn profile, because she writes and recommends awesome books, and connect with Anna on LinkedIn. Anything else, Anna, before we close this interview?
No, just saying really thank you. It was super enjoyable, and it's like having a coffee chat with you. Amazing. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Anna. It was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for tuning in, for subscribing, sharing, liking. I really enjoy all these chats as just much as you do, maybe even more. And more episodes are coming along your way. So there's more episodes that I'm planning to publish this week. So stay tuned. And thank you, Anna, so much for spending this afternoon with us and for this enjoyable conversation.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.